This is The Scoop for Friday.
I'm Josh Holton with the WMNF News headlines. According to a Twitter post by the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office, a 16-year-old is facing charges after making school threats on the Pinellas County Sheriff's Instagram page. The teen had claimed he would bomb every school in the county at 3 p.m. tomorrow. Sheriff Chad Chronister said, quote, "There is no scenario where this kind of comment or is a joke or funny. We take any threat of violence, especially involving our schools, very seriously. Now this teen will face the consequences of his reckless actions," unquote. Deputies searched the home and no bomb-making materials were found. Another pedestrian has died in Tampa after being hit by a car. In an email release, Tampa police say an adult man died after being struck by a vehicle at the intersection of North 40th Street and East Ellicott Street last night. WMNF's Chris Young tells us a new report shows that Florida has the third highest pedestrian fatality rate in the country.
Florida falls just behind New Mexico and Louisiana on the list. Holly Cooper is the CEO of Ultimate, the company that released the report.
3.5 per capita is the pedestrian fatality rate on average in Florida. To compare it, the best state is at 0.5, so significantly higher in the state of Florida.
Rural counties like Hamilton, Dixie, and Suwannee have higher pedestrian deaths per capita.
When you get to more rural environments, you have longer open stretches of road, more room for vehicles to go faster. It really creates an environment where you can have some bad behaviors.
A pedestrian has only a 10 to 15% chance of survival if hit by a vehicle going 40 miles per hour.
The pedestrian fatalities over the last decade have increased 77%. Versus other traffic incident fatalities at only 25%. So we're getting this false sense of security as drivers that because our vehicles are safer, we can have more unsafe driving behavior. And the reality is it doesn't protect those outside of our vehicle.
In July, the city of Tampa announced the $2 billion mobility plan in hopes to reduce roadway deaths. For WMNF News, I'm Chris Young.
Florida Senate and House members file bills this week that could lead to fewer judges serving in the future on two state appeals courts. Margie Menzel has details.
Senator Aaron Grahl of Vero Beach and Representative David Silvers of Lake Clark Shores filed identical bills for the 2024 legislative session, which starts in January. The bills would affect the Tallahassee-based 1st District Court of Appeal and the Tampa-based 2nd District Court of Appeal. In 2022, lawmakers approved the creation of a 6th District Court of Appeal and revamped the boundaries of other districts, including the 1st and 2nd districts. The proposal would reduce the numbers of judges based on attrition and without requiring a judge to vacate his or her position involuntarily. For WFSU News, I'm Margie Menzel.
Florida wants to snuff out smoking at state parks. A Democratic State House representative yesterday filed a proposal that would prohibit smoking or vaping within state parks. Violators could face $100 in fines for first offenses. The bill is filed for consideration during the 2024 legislative session, which will start January 9th. The state park system mostly follows the Florida Clean Indoor Air Act, which bars smoking inside buildings. Last year, lawmakers passed a measure that allows cities and counties to restrict smoking at beaches and parks that they own. The rule exempts unfiltered cigars. The tropics have been relatively quiet recently, but last evening, forecasters with the National Hurricane Center identified a new potential tropical cyclone. Meteorologist Megan Borowski from the Florida Public Radio Emergency Network tells us.
So let's first define what a potential tropical cyclone, or PTC, is. It's defined by NOAA as a disturbance that is not yet organized enough to be called a tropical cyclone, but it could soon develop a defined center, or it could bring tropical storm or hurricane-like conditions to land within the next 48 hours. This particular system, PTC 22, is southwest of Jamaica and will likely organize into a tropical storm sometime today. It's forecasted to track due northeastward through Cuba and the southern islands of the Bahamas before tracking farther east into the Atlantic. It should pose no threats to the United States.
For the weather, it's cool and foggy in the Tampa Bay area. Highs today around 80. Overnight lows in the mid-60s. Tomorrow will be mild and partly cloudy with highs in the upper 70s. I'm Josh Holton with the WMNF News headlines on 88.5 FM and the WMNF app.
This is The Scoop, recorded at WMNF Tampa.